There are times that we look back at when the days were good. You know, not before the coronavirus, but way before. When it comes to nostalgia, one can simply argue whether the old days were good or bad. As a child, there were many games I enjoyed. There's one video game right now that I'm going to talk about. I'm not just talking about any video game. I'm talking about one of the worst games I've ever played. Especially when I was little and hardly played to this day, because I was not right in the head to honestly think that this game was the best. It's called Enter the Matrix. A game that has been rated 6.9 out of 10 on the Internet Movie Database, and a percentage of 93% who have liked it. Good, right? Wrong. Whatever, time to get down to the biz, shall we? Are you looking for something that will keep you satisfied? Some game that has a far more unique story to it? Look elsewhere, okay? I've checked the back of the video game cover, and what I found explains everything. In the war to save Zion, what part will you play? Seriously? Sounds anticlimactic, because it is. Well, for one, you play as a couple of characters, Niobe and Ghost, but the problem is that they don't really have any significant roles in the Matrix trilogy. They are pretty much secondary characters who only show up when the time is necessary for them. Take this classic example, which was originally from the second Matrix movie, called The Matrix Reloaded. You only see them talking with all of the rebels in the sewer. They are talking about a message that they received from a ship called the Osiris, which you hear about in the Animatrix. But that's a whole different story. The message warns about the machines that are tunneling down to Zion. Worm and Corrupt are sent an envelope from Smith to Neo. Neo opens the envelope and tells the two to get to their exits because the agents are coming. Corrupt and Worm inform the other rebels. Now Ghost and Niobe are in the sewers while Neo is fighting 3 upgrade agents. He attempts to try to find the Oracle, and Trinity and Morpheus are in the car. You're literally playing as 2 characters who don't seem to change much of the story. A game that's basically about them simply trying to play their parts in the war to save a city called Zion. Other times, while you play as them, they try to help some characters who don't even change the story one bit. They just make cameo appearances, and that's that. Cameo appearances. In the middle of the game, we get a scene where Ballard and Seraph are fighting after Seraph gives his apology because they did it with Neo.
Good. You do not truly know someone until you fight them. Come with me.
Only thing you know about me is I was about to kick your ass.
After that, we don't see him in the rest of the game, and it just stops there. What does the Oracle say to Ballard? What does she tell him? Spoilers, Ballard gets killed by Bane, along with Malachi. So you pretty much get the idea. But here's the funny part. It cannot be coincidence that Jada Pinkett Smith plays one of the characters, Niobe. And yes, I'm talking about the chick who many of you remember voicing the anthropomorphic hippo in the Madagascar trilogy. Will Smith was originally going to be Neo instead of Keanu Reeves, but they put his spouse in the movie instead. So yeah, that's hot. And Ghost, who is played by Anthony Wong. Now let's get to the dialogue. It certainly is no better than having to watch 2 women kiss, or Niobe getting an unexpected visit from the train man. Let's look into the dialogue that really spites me and leaves me scratching my head in confusion. Niobe and Ghost have their moments when they are speaking to the Oracle. When they are not convinced, the Oracle basically says this.
As I said, you may not recognize the face, but who and what I am beneath remains the same.
What?
Basically, she tells them her physical appearance does not define who she is, and that's fair. Who am I kidding? It's not.
I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
It really makes it seem that the writers are going ahead of themselves. They had to come up with something because the original actor for the Oracle died of lung cancer, so they picked some other woman for the part, who looked almost similar and used this. But why she says she looks different is what leaves me in more confusion. Basically, by a deal she made with a Merovingian, she looks different, but for what child? Who said anything about there being a child?
2 programs that I trusted, sold the termination code of my original shell to the Merovingian for the life of their child.
Let's give the benefit of the doubt though. Maybe they're referring to Sati, who was in the Matrix Revolutions. Or she's talking about the younger generation in general. Maybe the first one. Because in the Matrix Revolutions, you find out that she and her family are exiles. And an exile could be deleted. And Sati does see the Oracle. But what really makes it more convoluted is the concept of the Merovingian and his role as one of the villains in the franchise. I mean, he's a villain, sure, but he's not the main villain. He's not the one who goes around killing you every chance he gets on the streets. His vampires don't seem to kill you because you know about the Matrix being an artificial program. They seem to do it just for the sake of causing trouble. He's mainly a person who lives in a mansion, drinking martinis, living a luxurious life, going to fancy restaurants and clubs with his wife, and having his henchmen kill you or asking you to leave if a compromise is not made. But despite it all, you have a part where Niobe's in the subway where she meets the train man, who is basically loyal to the Merovingian. He tells her that Zion lasted 72 hours before it was attacked one time.
72 hours.
What did you just say?
That's exactly how long Zion lasted last time.
Does he even care about Zion lasting when he works as a guy in a train station who acts as a loyal servant to the Merovingian? Literally yes, because the Frenchman's 2 loyal vampires, Cain and Abel, steal a key that leads to the source. And the keymaker says this.
Why don't you just make another one?
Once it is used, it cannot be used again. They will bring about the end of everything.
Nope, didn't happen. Because the keymaker somehow made another one and gave it to Neo in the dungeon. Or maybe Niobe and Ghost retrieved the key from the 2 and they didn't show it in the game. And does the Merovingian's wife Persephone really want a kiss from any guy in order to have them get help from her? Even a woman? I'm probably going off. We're going to focus on the level design and the making of the environments and the characters. A common complaint for the game is the CGI and the level design. This little nitpick I have to point out is the firearm that you'll see many of the characters have. It's the 50 AE Desert Eagle pistol. Maybe it would have been better if you picked different models of pistols per character instead of using the exact same gun. Niobe has them, Ghost has them, the cops at the post office have one, even the agents have one. In some cutscenes you see Ghost have the P229 pistol, and Niobe have the 9000S Beretta pistol in the live action scenes. But in the game's cutscenes they have the 50 AE Desert Eagle. That doesn't add up. But that's not the only problem. The environments are boxy, the rendering is poor, the colors are washed out, the graphics are dark. It's really easy to find some irritating bug at any chance you play in the game. Just look at the brand tie-ins you see in the game. The only brand that they managed to get in the game is Powerade, but that's it. Look at the incredible other brands they come up with. Tasty Flakes, Crunchy Fun, Milky Puffs, Soup, Beans,
Sugar.
Flour. That's it. For the rest of the game, they somehow managed to only add Powerade, but not something else, unique. For cereal, they just come up with Tasty Flakes, and for chips, they come up with just chips. This is another little minor problem, but you'll realize that the game's characters have the exact same model. I'll show you. See this woman in the airport? They used the same model for Ice in the video game. See that guy in the airport? They also used him for Corrupt in the game as well. Look at that guy at the post office. They used him as one of the prisoners in the dungeon. In all honesty, this is the least of my worries because they did that in so many other video games, like The Matrix Path of Neo, which came out just a couple years after this one. And it was way more better. So to be fair, that's not the biggest problem that the game has. One other thing that makes it irritating is the character deaths. How do I want to describe it? The game creators have somehow decided that it would be an okay idea to have the characters be walked on easily every time that they are dead. You can walk on them, and you can see their legs easily go through them. It's kind of the same thing with objects. If you take a small swing or a kick at a box or even shoot it, you can suddenly walk over. Before you do that, you can't. The characters themselves don't even walk properly. Some have complained about this, but why is it that when you move forward, he runs in the same weird cycle as usual? And when you move the thumbstick back, he's still running with his back on screen. It's shit. That's all I can add about the bad things. Now we'll go over the things that I give the creators credit for. I like how the game creators put a goal tracker on top of the screen. It works because there are times where a person could easily get lost and not know where they're supposed to go, so that I like. Basically, if you see the arrow turn red, it means you're going the wrong way. But if you go the right way, the arrow turns white again. That's one good thing. I also like how a text box would appear on the bottom of the screen and it tells you what you have to do sometimes. So yeah, the game creators did actually think about adding some things to the game in an attempt to make it better. Everything else still sucks, but these things make it better a little. Next, let's talk about the music. The music choice for the video game is really unique. There are songs that are used by different artists, and the musical instrumentation is fitting for the shootout levels that you have to complete. For each shootout level, you have different songs that have been picked for each level. Let's start with the first level, Unexpected Arrival. The next level, Revolving Restaurant. The third one, Malachi and Bane, Part 1 of 2. And even the Nuclear Waste Sector, Parts 1 and 2. The rating. From all the things that make this game not the best, and some of the things that make this game okay, the rating I give this is a 2.9 out of a 5. The reason is because there are plenty of faults in the game that should be focused on much further than the actual improvisations that the game itself reaches. From the lack of good graphics, of course, to the dialogue, to the high chance of finding annoying bugs in the game, it overweighs some of the good things that the game makes. I think it's safe to say that many of you probably won't have much of an interest of playing this game. When you play this, sure there are a mass variety of firearms that can be used, and there are so many levels that you can complete, but other than that, it seems hard to understand why this game is so good, as the trailers have worked hard to make it seem. Better yet, you'd probably have a better chance of playing the video game The Matrix Path of Neo, which came out 2 years after this game's release in 2003. So there's all I have to get out about this video game. In all seriousness, it's bad, but not as bad to the point where you'd want to not play it at all. After playing several up to a dozen levels, that's when you get tired of it. So yeah, if you happen to enjoy this game, I'm not stopping you. Tell me why you like this game in the comments section below. Share this video. Maybe even give it a thumbs up. I hope to see you all in the next video. Take care of yourselves, and stay safe.
That which you want will come to own you. So what you gon' do but cut the noose to the neck, let it loose, the better we feel. Come prepared to shoot, kill or be killed. What's really real really when you crack the cages? Hope you came with enough gas to make it. Nope, you ain't gonna, man, not today, kid. We all little